Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is 9:39 a.m. It is early, and I just realized I was connected to a different network, and I may need to change it. Hmm. Let me see what happens if I clears through. Okay, cool. I guess we should be good now. Um, yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I just had to reset my web connection. We are live. I will tell you, I have such a headache today. I woke up super early, and typically, if I wake up really, really early, my head is like pounding. Uh, but there's some good stuff to go over and talk about today. So I figured let's give it a shot and see how things go. And maybe you'll like my more subdued way over the interwebs. But anyway, good morning. Let's take a look at the charts real quick and cover that while chat is filling in. And let's see what's going on. So, currently looking at Bitcoin on a 4-hour chart. You can see we had a we've been breaking down out of this ascending triangle here. We're breaking down, and like I've been saying, I suspect we are to go further. uh, I mean, this is just not rocket science at this point. We're in a bear market, and um against what a lot of people are hoping for, we're not I don't see us going up for quite some time. I think we're going to go even lower. As a matter of fact, I made another trade on my sponsor for this month, BitGet, and I made a short trade last night, and that went well. I went ahead and closed it when I woke up this morning. I'll probably re-enter another one. I just Today's going to be a busy day, and I wasn't going to be able to watch the chart, so I didn't just let it ride, even though I probably could have. It would be even better now than it was when I closed it, and I kind of expected that. So, but we'll see. Um, so yeah, we're going down even further, and if you look at just about everything, I mean, it's a very similar pattern across the board. uh we finally went bearish. This is Ethereum on a 4-hour. We're now in more of a bearish territory after a pretty significant uptrend since October 25th. So from October 25th up to the 29th, we had 4 days where it was just basically going up with a little bit of a correction in between, and then we went sideways for a little bit, and now we're breaking back down. And I know that there's a lot of people talking about Jerome Powell and his situation yesterday, and basically they're trying to intentionally push the markets down. They really want everybody to stop spending. They want people to um you know I mean, they're trying to control inflation by making everything more expensive, and just basically giving everyone a little less spending power and so forth. And they're going to keep raising interest rates until things really start to balance out, I guess. So, I know that when a lot of people were saying, uh, early on, people were trying to explain, about the tax policies and, what they mean. And everybody was like, they said they're not going to tax anybody that's making less than 400,000 a year. And everybody's like, you just don't understand work. And so of course then we've got record inflation, and everything's more expensive across the board. So it is what it is. But uh yeah, so we're going to go over some interesting news, because there's some stuff that's been going on that I think is worth sharing. So let's cover that. It's changing my screens on this application. It's not always super simple. Cardano hidden signal shows why it may bounce soon. Crypto market review. This is November 2nd. So this came out yesterday. I don't know who this gentleman is. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name, but it's Arman Shirinyan, I guess. Okay, I guess I will try it. It looks simple enough. With the end of the mild recovery of the cryptocurrency market, most cryptocurrencies, including Aptos, Cardano, and XRP, are returning to the level we saw previously. However, some of them might surprise us in the foreseeable future. I don't really care about Aptos right now. I don't know anything about it. Cardano shows hidden signals. This is the kind of stuff that, people love to read and they love to hope for, but listen, you guys know that when I feel things turn bullish again, or I feel like we've bottomed, from that point, then it's just longs and riding the wave up, accumulating even more with a little more enthusiasm. But we're not there yet. I just don't think we're there yet. Despite the poor price performance of Cardano, the cryptocurrency may still surprise investors with strong moves on the market, as the relative strength index shows that ADA has some room for recovery in the foreseeable future. According to the indicator, it has just reached the middle zone of the RSI's range and is no longer overbought, which means that inflows because it's just a bunch of bourgeois. To me, it's just bourgeois. And gosh, I wish it were different. I wish I felt different, but like this here, I thought was interesting, but it's more bourgeois. Now, it could be possible, but I'm sure that there are elements to this that the deep learning algorithm is not taking into account. But let's go over it anyway. Deep learning algorithm predicts Cardano to trade above 50 cents by November 30th, 2022. And, if you guys have been catching me the last week, you know that I've been saying that we may very likely end up topping out, somewhere in November and then getting a bottom from there. And, I think a lot of this is based on the outcome of the midterm elections. And, my one question that I do have as it relates to politics and all of that is, how would the right change the trajectory of the economy? Is it even possible? Like, what would Republicans do differently after, like, to basically clean up the mess that's been created? Uh, is there an alternative plan outside? Like, how are we going to get prices back down? How are we going to undo so much of what's been done? Because I mean, let's face it, man. BS aside, the left has definitely been focused on this kind of green agenda, if you will, that's all about getting rid of fossil fuels and all of that, and they've been doing it. But I feel this is my own personal opinion. All the BS and nonsense and smoke and mirrors and propaganda and all that aside, I feel like we're trying to pull the cart before the horse when it comes to energy efficiency, green energy, and all of that. We don't have the infrastructure for green systems yet. I mean, when California is basically saying, hey, by what is it, 2025 or whatever, 2030, I can't remember. You're not going to be able to buy fuel cars. You're not going to be able to buy cars with a combustible engine or whatever, a combustion engine. And then they turn around and they say, I think it was like the next day, they said something to the effect of, you're by this date or whatever, you're not going to be able to charge your electric cars because the California grid can't handle it. And so it leads me to wonder, what exactly is the point? What is the point of trying to drive everyone to buy electric cars that rely on an electrical grid that costs so much in fossil fuel resources to manufacture? Where is the savings? Like, what exactly is it? Like, if we want real green energy, we want real green, from what I've gathered, it's all about hydrogen cars, and I don't know if it was fake or not, but I saw a high-end concept hydrogen vehicle. I know guys like Bob Lazar have talked about how the inefficiency of using hydrogen to power vehicles, but that was also what, 20 years ago that he was talking about that. He had built a car that ran on hydrogen, and he was kind of explaining like how difficult it is and how the tanks are super large and they take so much room and space and all that, and how it just wasn't very efficient. But I'm like, how has that changed over the last, 15, 20 years? I mean, I'm pretty sure the video I saw of Bob Lazar and his hydrogen vehicle was like from the 80s, 40 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. And so I'm thinking about all of this, and I'm just, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now. But there are things that I think about pretty much day and night. And I think, how is all of this going to change? Like, let's say there is some big red wave after the midterms. How does that change anything? I mean, if we've taken out all these pipelines to reduce our throughput for fossil fuels, for oil and all that stuff, we've basically just cut. Like they say, one of my old favorite movies with Matt Damon, The Rainmaker. Cut. Old one was talking about her will. Cut. And it's like we've done so much of that in terms of, saving the earth and climate change and reducing fossil fuels and all of that. But we can see how drastically it's changing everything. And then we look at the changes associated with the the supply chains and just all of that. It feels like, this whole agenda for altering the way we do business, altering the way we live, the way we consume, the way we buy, sell, all of it. Everything is changing. But at the same time, I feel like some of it is so much more premature. And I think that some of that just has to do, in my opinion, with the politicians that are putting a lot of these things in place and their ability to profit from it, from pushing these alternatives or pushing these companies, pushing this narrative, because it gives them the opportunity to put buy stock options and things while they're in office, and it doesn't really matter that we're not really ready. They're ready for the profits that they're able to generate by their positions of power in our government. More to this, but I personally, I love the idea of a greener earth. I love the idea of uh, well, I love the idea of free energy. When's that going to come out? I love the idea of all of that stuff. I personally, I would love to have an electric vehicle. I tried to buy one. I just couldn't get one. There's a wait list for like 6 months or more, and I needed a car. So I wasn't able to get one. And now, I saw the Hummer, the new electric Humvees or whatever. And I'm like, wow, those look amazing. And then I just saw this video that said it takes 2.5 hours to charge one. And then the fuel that it takes, like if you were to charge it from a generator, it would take like 2 hours and 80 something dollars worth of fuel to fuel the generator that you would need to charge the car. And I'm like, it's just silliness. Personally, I don't believe electric vehicles are at a place, like if you've got one to buzz around town or run errands during the day, then fine. But for real trips and things, I just think that it's still too early. But my question really is, if there is some big red wave, how does that change anything? How do you change what's already been done, especially when what's been done has been imposed on the public on a global scale, because they're all a part of the same groups, and on both sides of the fence, right or left, there are people that have been active in all of this. So I don't know where we go from here. But when I'm looking at the crypto space and I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, uh, we'll see. But I mean, it's still looking pretty bleak. And honestly, I think we still have quite a ways to go. I do think that the next 60 days are going to determine quite a bit as it relates to the cryptocurrency market. So let's continue. Sorry, I was just thinking out loud for a minute. I just don't know what sense to make of a lot of it. And by the way, hashtag no way in hell to amnesty. Let me just say that. I think that is just repugnant, especially considering the fact that a lot of the people in power have admitted that they knew otherwise. They knew the opposite to what they were pushing and saying was true a long time ago. That does not merit amnesty. That is premeditated, in my opinion. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know, and if you don't, well, I can't get into it for obvious reasons. Elon doesn't own YouTube. So anyway, despite the fall in price, Neural Profits PyTorch-based price prediction algorithm that uses an open source machine learning framework has predicted that ADA would reach the price of 57 cents by November 30th of 2022. And so here we have, apparently it's an open source framework, which I'd be curious. I might have my dev look into that. If there was a way I could run it and actually run, you know, like, hey, what do we want to run today, and see what the AI says the price is going to be. That could be interesting, because apparently it's proven fairly accurate between certain time periods. The thing of it is how does this algorithm take into account everything that's happening and has been happening over the last couple of years as it relates to crypto? I don't see it. What's funny is, to me, when I see this, it might go up to 57 cents by the end of November. If it does, then I would consider this it's the simulation. It's an AI-driven simulation typically based off of historical data. And yeah, I'm not quite sure how this is going to play into things, because my assumption is it's based on a lot of bogus information right now that isn't really relevant to the current system, the current time, the current market, the current economy, and the drastic changes that are going to continue coming down the pipe. Although it's not a perfect forecast of future values, the model covering the period of July 31st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022 has shown a fair track record of accuracy up until the sudden market collapse of the algorithm-based stablecoin project Terra. So, and then it goes into some chart metrics and things, and that's all fine and dandy, but ultimately I don't really think this means very much. It was an interesting little thing to look over and share, but I don't really see this playing out. And if it does, it's going to be right before we take a huge dump. This could potentially it could have something to do with the idea that one side or the other may be winning the midterm elections for whatever reason, or however that may be the case. And then, you know, things continue on the way it is, and then we get a big pump, you know, early on, and then we realize, oh, wait a minute, there's been so much damage done. We're not going to come out of this very easily, and it's going to take a lot longer. And then we move further into a bottom. So, you know, we'll see. This is something I want everybody to pay attention to. This is a really big deal. So I'm not going to ramble a lot. I'm going to take a little sip for this. Coffee's a little extra strong today. So this is a big deal. And this is one of the reasons why I don't use DEXs, for one, because there's just too much. There's too much that can happen with these. I might read, I don't know. We'll see how much of this I read. Well, it's pretty long. Oh, no, it's not. All right, I'll read this whole thing, because you guys really need to hear this, especially those of you that are out there listening. You're not even watching. I'm going to read this to you. Rug pull is a new type of scam, which is now part of a long history of investment schemes that make investors lose a lot, if not all, of their money. Derived from the popular expression, pulling the rug out, happens when investors are enticed or attracted by developers to put resources, usually a lot of money, into a new cryptocurrency project, only for them, the developers, to pull out prematurely, fleeing with the funds pooled for the endeavor. This usually happens in the decentralized finance ecosystem, or DeFi, particularly in decentralized exchanges, or DEXs. More often than not, a rug pull can happen right after a project's introduction. Sometimes, however, those behind the scam take their time, prolonging the agony of their unsuspecting victims. In line with this matter, a newly released report claims almost 98% of all tokens listed on the reputable crypto exchange Uniswap are malicious and accessories for scams. I will read this again. In line with this matter, a newly released report claims almost 98% of all tokens listed on the reputable crypto exchange Uniswap are malicious and accessories for scams. Now, this likely targets Uniswap because it's one of the biggest out there with the highest volume. But if it's 98% on Uniswap, you can bet it's probably close to that on the majority of other dexes as well. And this is the thing. This is one of the reasons why I am creating a new metric system for the way I review crypto projects moving forward, because the assumption will always be that it's a scam first. No longer am I going to review crypto projects as bullish as I once have. I don't care what the situation is. God himself manifests himself into a bearded man or woman or non-binary being. I don't care. It comes down to a currency project and we want a lot of money because we're doing, assume it's a scam first. Any block, let me let me make this a little bigger. Any project that me off. Stream got rugged. Yeah, I'm back. So, yeah, sorry about the internet connectivity. This is what I have to work with here in Florida, and it really does drive. I had all right. So I just reconnected to the other system. Hopefully that helps, but we'll see. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I will always assume that every cryptocurrency project I see in the space is a scam until proven otherwise. So just know that moving forward. I don't even care if I'm extremely bullish on something and I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm still going to assume it's a scam first. And if it's not a scam, that's fine, because the other layer to that is, can the project come through on its claims, on its goals, on what it's trying to accomplish? So yeah, that's the plan moving forward, just to let you guys know. And I will also let you know I am working on the biggest cryptocurrency master course I've ever created. And I really would appreciate it for those of you who watch this video. If I have helped you change your life since 2017, if I've helped educate you, if I've helped you, please, I'm nearly begging you to leave a comment down below, because I want to use them as testimonies on this master course. If you've taken any of my older courses over the last 5 years and they helped you, just basically I want to build up a big list of testimonies for my master course, because I'm going to be doing this master course. I'm going to be putting a lot of time into it. I'm building it all myself. I'm building it on my own platform, my own website, the whole nine. And I could definitely use your help. So if you're watching this video and I've helped you over the years, please leave me a testimony in the comments below, not in the super chat, not while we're live, but in the comments below. It'll help the algorithm of the video reach more people that maybe I've helped. But I would like to use a lot of these testimonies, and I don't need them or like, if you've got a story to tell, great. I'll love the stories. I'm going to immortalize them. Just make sure they're real. I don't want anybody making up stuff because you like me. Appreciated but not necessary. Let's keep it real. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So basically, the moral of this whole story is that the vast majority of crypto projects that are being exchanged on dexes are rug pulls, are scams. And So be very, very weary, because and not only that, but there are a lot of these projects that are listed on DeFi exchanges, and then you also see people putting up fake tokens that catch a lot of people up. So you think you're buying the real token, but in reality you're buying a fake one. um there definitely should be an easier way, just like, on YouTube and on Twitter. I have impersonators all over social media. I have friends all the time messaging me, "Hey, is this you messaging me on Instagram? Because you sound different." I'm like, "No, that's not me. Check the." Even my own kids, they're like, "Dad, who is this you? Why are you what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "That's not me. Look at the username. They change your username by a letter or a space or an underscore. They turn a 0 into an O or an O into a 0, that sort of thing." Um, and it's constant. I mean, I get, even in the comments below in this video, and I try to clean them out, I try to hide the users. They just have these accounts, man. They just keep creating them. It doesn't matter if you get rid of one, they're going to create another one in an hour. And and I know, because I get emails from these companies too. They're like, "Hey, if you pay us so much a month, we will clean out all of the spam and the scammer messaging and comments." And I'm like, "You're the ones that are probably putting them there to begin with. So what, you're going to leave my channel alone if I pay you every month?" It's like extortion. And unfortunately, because YouTube and a lot of these platforms don't really have a means of policing that properly, um, which to me is a drastic oversight. I mean, you could say an opinion that they don't agree with and they'll ban your whole channel. But, God forbid you want a means of dealing with a lot of these scammers and stuff. So, anyway, yeah, but I things need to change, and I'd like to see an easier way, so that if you are trying to exchange for a particular crypto, that somehow there's an easier way outside of having to cross-reference the policy ID of a project. Some way to know that the project is legitimate. But anyway, that's that. So I'm going to talk about this. This is a kind of a big deal here. ADA, South Korean crypto bank, about to list Cardano and launch staking service. That's pretty big stuff. Delio, which claims to be South Korea's first cryptocurrency bank, is reportedly about to list Cardano's ADA token and plans to launch a staking service for it. On the 7th of July of 2022, FinExtra reported that Delio had launched the country's first cryptocurrency bank, offering a money market deposit account that enables crypto deposit and withdrawal at any time. The report also mentioned that Delio, which was founded in 2018, already offered a host of crypto-related services, but had recently obtained a virtual asset service provider certificate to allow it to move into areas such as deposits, loans, and asset transactions. And, I will tell you this. If any of you out there, this is a lesson learned too. And not really a lesson. It was just part of an experience. A lot of you guys know that I had started those Bitcoin ATMs like a long time ago, like a year and a half ago or whatever. It's been a while. And it took so long. It took like 6 months to get the machines. And there was just issue after issue after issue. And I had basically sold them all for $1 to a friend. I'm like, "Hey, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. I don't really want any of these anymore. I don't want to deal with it." And I thought all was done, right? I'm thinking we didn't do much of anything. It didn't turn into anything. But there was so much involved, man, between, like, I spent all this money on policies and procedures, and I had a compliance officer. I had all this stuff, right? And so then all of a sudden I get a phone call from the IRS. And I was like, whoa. At first I thought it was a scam. You know how, like, people, "Oh, we're the Social Security office and we need all your personal information," and it's all scams. And I thought this was one of those. And the guy was like, "Yeah." Now this guy was obviously American, and I think it was a Louisville number. And got to talking to him, and he knew all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, all right, I think this guy's legit. I was still a little iffy, but the long and short of it is they wanted me to prove a whole bunch of stuff related to my Bitcoin ATMs. And I'm like, oh my God, it's been so long. I gave these things away. And I had to go back, and I had to get transaction history and just all this stuff. And I was kind of like freaking out, not really just because I'm more of a worrywart. I wasn't worried. here's the thing about me. When it comes to finance and when it comes to all this legality and all of the regulation and compliance and this and that, I'm always afraid that I don't know enough. And it doesn't matter. I've learned it doesn't matter what a lawyer tells you, because lawyers just give you their opinions, and if they turn out to be crooked ass lawyers, well, then you're likely just screwed because you listen to the wrong lawyer. You can't call any of these different agencies directly because they just say get a lawyer, and so you're just basically at the behest of whoever you're getting advice from. And like, you would think that, the boards and so forth would be better at like policing their attorneys and things to say, well, I was always under the assumption that, like, listen, if they have a lawyer's license, that generally they're good at what they do, especially if they have a long history. Some of these lawyers truly do not give two shits about you at all. They care about their next check, their next retainer, their next whatever, but that's a whole other issue. But you try to do everything you can the right way. You try to do everything the right way. Well, anyway, I got this call from the IRS and they're like, hey, we need you to do this, and that. And I'm like, okay, so I'm on the call, I'm on the phone, I'm swapping emails with my accountant and my compliance guy and like all these people, and I get everything to them. And I'm like, man, I hope this doesn't turn into some bullshit, right? And lo and behold, yesterday, I got my like no issue, no action letter from the IRS. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because it's like, you just never know. But what I will say is that if you're ever thinking about getting into something like this, man, I hope the truth to this is this is one of the reasons why people that do really well in the finance world, and you're dealing with all of the compliance and all of the heavy weighted red tape and oversight and all of it, you almost have to be a psychopath. I really do believe you almost have to be a psychopath, because you just have to not really care that much. And for someone like me who cares too much about everything, it's a curse and a blessing at the same time, let me tell you. But yeah, that just wasn't fun. So anyway, that article is pretty much done. That was a very short one, but yeah, South Korean bank is looking to list Cardano. And listen, there's a lot of good stuff that's going on in the space, but like I've been saying, I don't expect things to really start turning around for quite a while. I think it's going to take at least another couple of months until we see a bottom. And once we see that bottom, I'm going to be here telling you I think the bottom is in, and I've already bought enough, because as soon as I think the bottom is hit, I'm going to make another big buy. And then I'm likely going to ride that out for the next few years. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so let's get to some questions and comments in here. Do you still train BJJ, Mr. Crow? What belt are you? Paid $5 to ask me that question. So here's the thing. When I was in MMA, I was training for 6 years on and off, and I trained at different gyms all the time. I'd be with this fight team or that fight team, or I'd train at this gym, that gym. And throughout all those years, I trained in no gi. So I never did gi jujitsu, and there are no belts in no gi. So, no gi jujitsu is more for fighting, like more for, combat sports and MMA and cage fighting and all that. And there aren't any belts. So I just started doing gi jujitsu a few months ago. And then we had I'm a white belt. Technically, I'm a white belt. I've submitted brown belts. I've never tapped out a black belt in my life, because when you're rolling with a jujitsu black belt, it's just a whole different animal altogether. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like rolling with me. I'm 7 feet tall. I'm 300 pounds, 305. And I could roll with a 5'5" jujitsu black belt, and I still feel like a child. Like, seriously, size does not matter in jiu-jitsu. Let me just tell you that. Now, if I'm punching you at the same time, well, good luck with your jiu-jitsu, because there's a good chance that if I land one blow, you're going to take a night. But I'm still a white belt. I mean, I'm not bad, but I'm definitely nowhere near as good as I once was. I mean, I used to have a few bread and butter submissions that I'd like to pull off. I was big on the triangle. I never got into arm bars much because I'm so big, and me spinning around for arm bars really quickly was never really that easy. But ankle locks, knee bars, stuff like that. Yeah, if I catch you slipping, I'll get you in something like that. Rear naked chokes, those are the easy ones. I can muscle my way into a rear naked pretty easily with most people. But yeah, I mean, technically I'm still just a white belt. But if I were to compete in something as a white belt today, I might do a little better than you would expect a white belt to do. We'll just say that. And I am technically still training. I mean, I signed up to this jujitsu gym, and it's a pretty sweet place. And Justin, the coach there, he's a black belt. He's sick. He's sickening. I mean, he's so good, and the stuff he teaches is so nasty. Honest to God, some of the stuff that he teaches at this gym, I feel guilty sparring with. Like I feel kind of bad for people because I am so big, and some of this stuff, and my wife is only 5 foot. So, and I've spent, 12 years supporting my own weight for whatever reasons. And just so that I'm not killing my wife, whether, she's roughhousing or like whatever the case may be, I'm always supporting my own weight. And so now I'm having to try and unlearn all of those habits because my weight is an advantage and I'm supposed to use it. And it's like, I'm talking too much. All right, let's go on. I'm pretty sure I answered your question and gave you your $5 worth. Okay. Sup, Crow finally caught a live stream. Caught a stream, love. Granddaddy Perp, what's up? Glad to see you here. Go see a coin and Digibite. I've always had a little soft place in my heart for See a Coin. I think it's because it's one of the tokens that I used to use when I first when I would mess around late nights with online gambling and things, and I would use See a Coin because you get like 1 billion of them for next to nothing, and just have fun. I mean, I remember I let a dice game run all night once because I was using See a Coin. Kopi to the moon. Yeah, there's some stuff coming with Kopi, and let's just say that I get a lot of questions in the comments of these videos about Kopi and centralized exchanges and when and all that. Just know that it's in the works. It's all in the works. Good afternoon, Crow and all. Prague in the house. What's going on? Welcome. Sun Chip says, good morning. Good morning. Ryan, good morning, Crow, on Facebook. I like to see the Facebook activity. I mean, I've streamed to multiple platforms now, but a part of me is wondering, should I not bother? Should I just stream on YouTube? Would it help my views if I just streamed on YouTube and then sent the links out to all these platforms? Because right now there are people that are watching, but they're in different places. So, and I feel like if the more people that are watching on YouTube at the same time and engaging with the YouTube content, the more it helps the algorithm. So maybe I'm spreading myself thin by going to a lot of these other platforms. So I don't know. Cock Crow on the drive to Tampa. You're going to Tampa, huh? I think were we just there? I know we're going to Orlando here pretty soon for a big concert. So that'll be fun. Good morning, brother Crypto. Shane, what's up? You aren't wrong about that. Scams. Yeah, exactly. And I think, yeah, you're on LinkedIn. So we've got a LinkedIn user. That's pretty cool. I love the live streams, Crow. Keep them up. You know what? I've been consistently going every day, Monday through Friday. This will be the second week in a row. So, yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm really trying. The problem is that in a bear market, there's also a lot less good, fun news to go over too. It's like, and the thing of it is, I almost feel like I'm trying to keep expectations realistic with people because I see all of we could turn around tomorrow, things could be popping tomorrow, this could be happening, we could go to 50 cents, we could go to $25,000 Bitcoin, and it's all bullshit to me. I just don't think we bottomed, and maybe we have, but I don't think we have. I think we've got some more pain coming, and I think when we go sideways the way we have been with these little pumps, it gives people false hope. I tell folks we're 12 months out. Anything in the meantime is a trap. That's very good because you know what? Even if we have bottomed, we're going to be sideways for at least a year or two. I mean, the halving isn't until 2024, folks. So if you think that we're going to go to the moon before then, I just think you're sadly mistaken. Just when you think Crow's voice can't get any deeper and raspier, you hear this, you hear his just out of bed voice. Why do I get deeper in the morning? I guess maybe I do. What do you suggest if one doesn't have the luxury of watching the charts? Oh, watching the charts all day, would just go all in and let it ride, or is there a bot that can assist? Here's the thing about bots. You know, I have Crow Trader, obviously, and you can download it and back test with it and paper trade with it for free right now. Just go to crowtrader.com. However, in a bear market, when the prices are consistently moving down and it's more long, like downtrends, Crow Trader is not going to do very much for you because you can't short with it. So, as much as I would love everybody to run out and get a copy of Crow Trader, you know, if anything, I would say go download I mean, you download the full version for free right from the website. And you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can throw in an exchange API and you just can't live trade with it. But you know, and I don't want to I don't want to ever mislead anybody. I'm not going to tell people go out and get the bot and you're going to make money in a bear market. I mean, it's possible, but you really better know what you're doing. Because when the price moves down more than it moves up, then you better have a big DCA bag, like a big DCA tier, and you better set your DCA up right, because it's going to take a lot longer to get out of positions. So yeah, I mean, there are some trading bots out there that you can short with, but I don't really know what all of them are. So yeah, I mean, there are bots that can assist, but as to your question, if you don't have the luxury of watching charts all day, which I don't either, typically if I were wanting to actively trade, but I can't just watch the chart all day like a day trader, I would probably do no less than 4-hour charts. 4-hour charting is more relative to swing trades. You know, if you're wanting to get in and out of positions over the course of a day, 2 days, 3 days, or a week. So yeah, I mean, I would either focus on 4-hour and up, or I would just average in over time. I tell people all the time, like, listen, I've got $1,000, Crow. What do I do? Well, then I might put $10 a day in over a period of days until $1,000 is invested. And then you just establish your average price over that period of time. And then that's what you've got. And then when you've got more money, you can do it again if you want, knowing that the price is going to fluctuate. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to be all over the place. And it is what it is. So, yeah. How long do you think they will go down for? When do you think they will start going up? I mean, I've shown in the charts many times. I'm going to get into this a lot too in the master course, but ultimately, and there's somebody, I guess it might be lower. I'll have to check out the $20 tip. That's a big one. When are things going to go up? It's very likely not going to start moving up until 2024. Let me rephrase that. The price is likely going to start moving up before 2024, but we're going to be sideways for a long time after we've officially bottomed, if we haven't already. I don't think we have, but that's my opinion. Doesn't mean I know everything. I'm always right sometimes. So, yeah, that 2020, I think April of 2024 is the next halving. And so, we'll probably get some upticks leading into the halving, and then we'll probably go sideways for a minute, and then we'll start moving up slowly until we hit a parabolic run. But at the same time, there's a lot of other stuff that's going on in the market that's going to change a lot of things. So we'll have to see. Tanker Monkey, good morning. Gata Life. Crow, do you still get nervous transferring large amounts of money from a ledger to the exchanges, even after I test and retest with small? Oh, I get nervous every time, brother. That hasn't changed. It's been 5 years. I still get nervous. Anytime I make a crypto transaction of any kind, I am always nervous. It's just the little intricacies of crypto and exchanging from one wallet to another, and the the definite nature of every move you make. It's always nerve-wracking. So yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. Anytime I'm going to send, if there's any reason for me to send a large amount of crypto for any reason, I'm always doing little tests first. And it takes more time, but it's, the easier things are in crypto, the riskier it likely is, right? So I always keep that mindset. And having been through everything I've been through over the years, I know that I'll go with safety and security over ease anytime. So it's good that you're actually doing that, because it's the people that don't, that fat thumb things and make all kinds of mistakes, and yeah, that's not good. Nothing there, I'll talk with no solutions. I mean, that might be right. Even if we just stop the bleeding, I'd be happy with that right now. I feel I do smaller amounts too. The green energy revolution is still 10 years away to even consider it meaningful. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where we're pushed to start adopting a new way of thought to prepare us for the way fossil fuels, electricity, and all that stuff is going to start working and benefiting us down the line. But I don't know, man. I really don't. There's so much to. I'm tired of being beat over the head with just craziness. Crow hitting it early. What's up, Alex? Always good to see you, man. You're up early. Well, of course you probably are. He's probably always up. Yo, Crow, what's up, Jacob Clausen? How are you? Why are you leaving PR? Brother, I left a long time ago. We've been in Florida now almost a year. So yeah, I did a whole video on that. Let me find. Hold on. I'm gonna get to this because I don't want it to go away. Because anytime I super chat somebody, I always like to. Okay, I don't know, a CA $5, chicken in my cheese, but no comment. Anytime I see that, I always wonder. Oh, there they are. Okay. What do you think of the Amazon bubble pop pattern correlation to Bitcoin that people like crypto savvy are pushing nonstop? Odds we see 7K to 3.5K Bitcoin. Okay, I've never seen 7,000 or 3,500. I think that's a little ridiculous. I definitely don't know anything about this Amazon bubble pop pattern correlation. I'll have to check it out. But I mean, the correlation I've always made is the NASDAQ 2003. From the NASDAQ 2003 to the Bitcoin's this last bull cycle, and you can line it up almost identically, as I've shown in my charts like countless times. I'll have to look up this Amazon bubble pop pattern though, because I've never seen anything about it. And I think personally the lowest I can see Bitcoin getting in this bear cycle is 9,600 bucks. But anything could be possible, but that's ultimately what I'm waiting for. So Danny, I'm a second stripe white belt. I hope you keep training. You're a big problem. I appreciate what you do. Thanks, man. Yeah, I am generally a pretty big problem. But my problem is I am absolutely lethal for about a minute. And after that, I'm like, it's just, I'm done. I am so not in great shape. But like anybody that's seen my fight on YouTube knows that it only takes me about 35 seconds to end someone. But after that, I'm ready for a nap, like in a big way. So yeah. And it's funny because if I'm going to fight someone, I prefer to fight somebody big. I like the big bodybuilders. I like guys that are like, because I am really big, but I feel blocky. But against somebody else my own size, I'd be considered really athletic. So it's like the little like 170 pounders that are in like amazing shape. Those are the guys I worry about. if I'm honest about it. I don't want to roll with them. I don't want to do anything with them because they've got way more energy than me, and they have enough mass and strength and everything else to be really dangerous. So, um, you know, I remember back in the day, I had what did he fight? He fought at 145. I had this guy who was doing really well. He's like 5 or 6-0 or whatever, and he's really good. And we got into the cage, and he had his boxing gloves on, and he hit me in the gut once, and he's like, ooh, and it was like he thought he did something or whatever. And I was a lot cockier back then. And I was like, what was that? I'm like, you think you did something? I was like, come on, give it to me. And he just started unloading. He's making all this noise, and he's just like hit me in the stomach a million times. And I was like, you don't got shit. I was like, this is why there are weight classes, fool. Like, don't grunt like that at me. You didn't do nothing. But at 170 pounds, that's where things like, oh, that stings. That can hurt after a minute. I don't know if I can deal with that very long. You have absolutely changed my life. Thanks you. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad. Hello, just caught this live. Thanks for all your words of wisdom. Thank you. You have the best channel. I appreciate it. I definitely feel like I'm just a niche pleasure or something, because I really just don't get the views or the engagement or anything. A lot of these, I don't know what to do. I really don't. I don't know what to do. I come on and I ramble, and some people love it. Patrick the plumber. I like that avatar. I'm glad you love it, and I'm glad that everybody's here. But it's like, man, you almost have to do moon boy content with flashy there's a whole system, and it's like, I just don't do a lot of it. Maybe it's my own laziness, it's my own fault. But I do think, and because I have been looking at my analytics lately, since I have been going live every day now, during the week anyway, and it looks like I've been stopping a lot of the lost subs bleeding, because anytime when you're in a bear market, you just lose subs. And which it's, I don't know, for whatever, to me it's kind of silly, because I don't know if I've ever subscribed to a channel and then unsubbed. Like, I don't know, people apparently use it as currency in a sense, where it's like, if they like what you have to say, or if you say something one day that they don't like, oh, I'm unsubbing, God, asshole. It's like, okay, I mean, to me, I feel like the content that I put out, the way I put it out, is so straight up, and it's just so honest. I mean, that's my biggest thing. Like, if there's anything that I feel I do that merits a much bigger channel, is the fact that I'm just as straight up as can be. I'm not very flashy. I am a little gray, but I'm just straight up, and I always have been since the very, very beginning. And I feel like if I offer anything, it's at least the experience of having been in the crypto space for 5 solid years. I've done everything there is to do in the space, for the most part, that doesn't involve me directly being a coder or a programmer myself. And I give it to everybody straight. And anything that I do in the crypto space, I pretty much share. I talk about, I go over. And so, I don't know. It's different for everybody, but how about have a question of the day in each video? I did think about doing that, and I saw somebody else, not in the crypto space, but somebody else post a little question and pins it at the top, and that drives engagement. Yeah, I do need to start doing that. That is a good idea. Thank you. Then you get best responses highlighted in the next day's video. That's a good idea. That almost gave me chills. Thank you, Abscon2. I'm gonna make a note of that. I am going to make a note of that. Do you think Hydra coin on KuCoin is the same? No. I don't know anything about this Hydra coin, but it sounds like a ploy. I knew I liked Korea. I watched hours of Korean street food vids. My wife and I have been watching this show on Netflix called, is it Drink Masters, I think, where they're making all these like really high end, really cool drinks. I don't know why, but I hate the word cocktail. It's such A friend of mine, we all went somewhere. I told my wife this last night, and he's probably gonna watch this video. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know," but we're out there, and he was like, "I'm gonna get a cocktail. Anybody else want a cocktail? Let's get a cocktail." And I'm just like, ugh. It's like the word delicious. Like I hate that word too. Anytime I hear it, it makes me cringe somehow, and it's almost like hearing people eat to me. Me listening to people eat sends me so triggered. I'm like a woke joke reading a Trump tweet when I hear people eat, and I think that there is a medical condition associated with that. Now, hearing somebody say cocktail or delicious isn't quite as bad, but to me, it is still a little cringy. It's a little like nails on a chalkboard. So then we start watching this show called Drink Masters, and we love the show. It's like so good, and you get all kinds of ideas, and it's like seeing what people concoct and everything. But they say the word cocktail 1,000 times in every episode, and I'm just like, so it is what it is. To each their own. But for whatever word, I hate that word. I just don't. I don't even know why. Sometimes I can't make sense of my abnormalities. Dojo Crow, what is the industry that doesn't know it needs blockchain yet? Oh gosh, what industry doesn't? That's a good question. I would say tabletop gaming. I think if and to some degree, some games in the past were starting to get it. I forget the name of them, but there were a couple of games where you get these little miniatures and you can put them on the table and it plays out like an augmented reality type thing. But I think blockchain gaming would benefit quite a bit, especially being able to have international tournaments and things, which is one of the reasons why I'm building my game, because I really think that could be a big deal. 69 likes. Nice. Should be 690. Well, thank you. Well, there's 162 people live right now. And for whatever reason, people just don't like me that much. They'll watch me, but they're not going to like the video or post comments or questions after the fact. But it is, it is what it is. I don't either all the time. I mean, I admittedly, I've watched content and I don't even think of hitting the like button and I know how much it helps. Hitting that like button basically tells YouTube to share your video and make it suggested to other people. And then the engagement helps the view count. So it's just it's like any other algorithm, the more engagement you have, the more that video is pushed. And sometimes like incentivizing people is to do things like that to help me help them, because I mean, let's face it, the bigger my videos get, the bigger the channels get, the more empowered I get, the more I can do to help everyone. Right. But, I feel like I'm always kind of running on fumes. So it is what it is. You still looking into Kopi? I did start reading into Kopi a little bit the other day, as a matter of fact. So, there may very well be a video at some point. Brother, you really need better internet. Damn, whenever you're about to say something very important, it freezes and unfreezes when you're done saying it. I know. Again, and I need to look again. I mean, now after Hurricane Ian and the way it just decimated so much of I mean, I will tell you, man, after the hurricane, everything was back up in a week. And these power line guys and these telephone guys, and they're all over the place all the time working. And man, God love these people. I donated. I literally had like $1,000 worth of a stake. And when we left the house, a friend of ours is a first responder with the fire department. And, these guys, they come to the house more frequently than they should because we have false alarms a lot because our home security system's touchy. And, sometimes my wife will set the alarm at night or whatever, and then I'll go in and I'll open the door to let the dog out or whatever, and then the house blows up and everything. And, man, these people are here. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's the house alarm or what, right? Boom, they're like at our door. And, like, the last time, I swear to God, there were 6, like, fire guys in our driveway, truck, like, whole everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt terrible. I'm like, I am so sorry, but that was a false alarm. Everything's good. And they all kind of got a chuckle. And I'm thinking to myself, man, these guys are freaking on that shit here. So after the storm, we were leaving because there was no power. And I had signed up for this like fast stakes. And so every month I had to reduce it. I just changed it to like every 3 months. But for every month, they would send me like a box full of frozen steaks. And the long and short of it is we knew there wasn't going to be power. None of my backup stuff was working properly. And so I'm like, these steaks are probably going to go bad. And my when we left, my mom was still here. She was kind of watching the house and everything in case anything were to happen. She knew who to call. The security system was still working because we did have that set up on something else. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, a friend of mine came to check on my mom, who's a first responder. And when he was here, I was like, hey, go ahead and clear out our freezer of all the steaks and go have a cookout with all you guys. Like basically we just gave them all of our steaks, and apparently they just they had MREs and shit that they had to eat. And I guess they had like a big blowout cookout at the fire department, and I guess the police department, and everybody and they loved it. And I felt good because I'm like, you know what? Thank you guys for showing up every time without fail, knowing it's probably another false alarm. So and I told them too, I'm like, make sure they know what address that these steaks are coming from. This is a thank you for showing up when because it's that one time it's not a false alarm, and they're like, it's that house again. And take your time, and the whole house is burning, or there's a burglar just going through, rummaging through shit, and they're, you know what I'm saying? So but I love those guys, man. All these people that are doing public service like that, from the utility workers to the police to the like when I was a kid, I used to hate seeing cops on the street. Like oh my gosh, our mindset as kids was like, oh, there's a cop. And like, anytime you'd see a cop, I mean, we could tell by the headlights if there was a cop behind us. And like we were always paranoid all the time. We weren't even doing shit. We were just dumbass kids, but we always felt like the cops were the enemy, like they're always just trying to like take your freedom and take you away. And it's like now as a grown man with a family and everything, I'm like, I love seeing cops. Like even during trick-or-treating the other night, there are cops all over on bicycles. And I was like, I love this. I love it. So yeah, cops especially never get nearly enough credit for the jobs they do, man. And it's like oftentimes I watch, like I go to usacrime.com sometimes, which I don't hopefully it's okay to mention that site. It's a pretty graphic site, but it's like surveillance videos of crazy stuff that happens all over the world. Let's put it that way. A lot of it you don't want to see. And I don't watch it because I have like this, it's not like this morbid fascination or anything. But at my age, I feel sometimes it's easy to get caught up in this you lose sight sometimes, you know what I mean? And you lose sight of how people live, how things are for a lot of other people. And I tell my wife all the time, like what I watch, what I see. And I'm like, this goes to show you never know. That's why, like, if you're in a bar, and like back in the day, I don't know how many guys I've knocked out in bars. I'm not even joking. And it's always somebody that comes to me and they're like, oh, they've had a little too much to drink. I'm the biggest guy in the bar, and they want to start throwing down or like showing off to their friends or their girlfriend or whatever. I'm not that guy. Like most guys my size they can't fight. They've never trained. They don't really know, and they get pretty scared. I'm definitely a fight guy than a flight guy. And I also know that, I used to be like, shit, I went through so much abuse as a kid and like bullying and all, because I was like a sweet kid, but I was really big. And I always had all these bullies all the time because they knew they could mess with me and I probably wouldn't do anything. I just didn't have it in me. But like, after a certain time, man, a switch gets flipped in your head and you're like, that's not happening to me again. Like, I'm not doing that again. And, but the other side to that is nowadays everyone's a pussy. Like, seriously, everyone's a punk now. Nobody really wants to just squab and move on with their life. Everybody's got to pull out a knife or a gun or kind of, oh, you're not going to kick my ass. I'll cut you. Like, whatever. And it's just like everyone's a pussy nowadays. And I just watched basically a guy. I had two friends that were in this bar. This was in Naples, and some of you guys may know about it, but I had two friends there that night, and one of them sent me a video like, hey, this just happened. And it was basically these guys were fighting in a bar. They get out in the street. Guy's already knocked out, laying out in the street, and a guy puts one in him and takes off running. And I'm just like, why is everybody such a wuss nowadays? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the movie Friday, put your guns away, put your knives away. You fight, you win or lose, but you live to fight another day, like whatever happened to that honor, like, I don't know, man. But I watch these videos sometimes just to remind me that there are a lot of like weak losers all over the place trying to like prove themselves by pulling out weapons and things because they're afraid to get their asses kicked or they're too afraid to take a punch because they've spent their entire life getting participation trophies for doing absolutely nothing, and they want that same recognition as a grown-ass man. And it's like, all that's done is create a bunch of problems, but that's a whole other topic altogether. But yeah, times have changed. Times have definitely changed. Wow, I just went on a whole ramble about nothing, didn't I? I've been live for an hour. Love that Crow Your Coin song. Catch myself singing it randomly. It's a little catchy little ditty, isn't it? Yes, it is. I know, because I do the same damn thing, and I've had that song now for years. All right, let's see. Crow, I've been in crypto since late 2018, but it was only in late 2020 I started really getting involved, learning, but still don't know why people hate on Coinbase as an on and off ramp. Do you? Well, I think a lot of the hate related to Coinbase is that it's a US regulated exchange. So they do things based off of regulation and compliance. Coinbase can't get away with a lot of the bourgeois that a lot of these other non-regulated exchanges do. People look at exchanges like Binance and they see how big it is and they offer so many more tokens and they offer so much more stuff. But they're like based in Singapore. They're probably licensed in other places. And, it's just a different beast altogether. It's like, you've got Coinbase, Kraken, I think Gemini, these US-based, US regulated exchange platforms have different rules that they have to follow, or they get fined and sued and all kinds of stuff from the regulatory bodies. And so, Coinbase does get a lot of hate. And at the same time, I think that Coinbase, I've never personally had a problem with Coinbase. I used to use them religiously. I don't have anything on Coinbase. I don't really use them for much anymore. Maybe I will in the future. I don't know. But I personally never had a problem. But I've seen a lot of issues where people are online, they're complaining, oh, Coinbase froze my account, didn't tell me why I haven't been able to get my money in so long. But at the same time, those could also very well be people that who knows what they're doing. Who knows what else they're doing on blockchain, on crypto, and this place, on that website. You just don't know all the details, and there's always two sides to every story. So, of course, the loudest people are typically the ones with the most problems, and I feel like to some degree they bring a lot of those problems on themselves, and they don't want to be accountable for them. And when you have those kinds of folks that are doing various things on a US regulated exchange that pays very close attention to everything that you're doing, for better or worse, you start getting a bad rap. So I don't know. Personally, I like the fact that Coinbase is a US regulated exchange. I understand that they can't list every shit coin on the market, and that's okay. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I think some of the Coinbase FUD is a little unfounded. And some of it might be based off of entitlement. I really don't know. But I personally have never had a problem with them. And quite frankly, I feel like Coinbase is probably going to be like where it's at in the US as we continue to move forward with the way things are going. Gabriel Montenegro, I bought 500,000 ADA in 2018 because of your video and your great information, and I sell on 2021. So thanks, man. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I love to see when people have done really well. Dude had an 8,500 square foot mansion and called it a house. I mean, the house in Puerto Rico is big, that's for sure. But I mean, property is not nearly as expensive in Puerto Rico as it is in the States. So it is what it is. The house is worth a lot more now than it was when I bought it. That's for sure. We just put a new roof on it. We're doing all kinds of stuff to it. I just got to find a big crypto bull that wants to buy it from me, and they can do everything over in Puerto Rico. I was nervous sending my Murder of Crows from your Yoroi wallet to NAMI wallet for access to SoBlocks. Yeah, I get it. I get nervous anytime I transfer anything in crypto. I will say though, there very will likely be there will likely be services rendered by whether they're banks or other institutions or whatever that provide some sort of insurance for a lot of that kind of thing. But I don't know. I think people are still trying to sort things out and learn. Michael Hodge, oh my God, you are watching this video. I was just talking about you, Mr. Cocktail. When the bottom falls out of crypto, does it wick down hard for hours, then reverse in a V, or will we have time to strategize? You'll have time. You'll have time, dude. It's Mike's actually a personal friend of mine, and he's the one I was just giving shit about. I knew he'd be watching. Yeah, we all went out, and he was the one talking about getting cocktails, and it's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, yeah, man. I mean, you're gonna have plenty of time, dude. We're gonna be sideways probably for at least a year before anything significant happens. The question is when is the bottom? That's all I want to figure out right now. When the bottom hits, that's when things start really changing. Who's got a link to any of Crow's fights? There's only one on YouTube, and I think I've shown it in the past. Let me see. For those of you that are on here, I don't know. I'm afraid I'm going to lose viewers if I pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, and maybe I'll play it. It's only 35 seconds, and it's really not all that special because I just look like a giant mauling another giant. Because the guy I fought was 6'6". Let's see here. This might be the best. There are some camera phone videos of it too. All right, so I'll go ahead and show this. Hold on. Can't believe I'm going to show this. Default view. Yeah, this should be big enough, I guess, right? Yeah, there. All right. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but you'll be able to see it. And I'll hide the comments so you can see more. And here we go. That's Kirk. He was 6'6" and 7'4", I think, at the time. And this was my amateur debut. I was, how big was I? I think I was 285, 283, and Kirk gave up 30 pounds, but the commission allowed it because he had so many more fights. And yeah, you can see my head coming up over the cage line. And that's the ref. He's a UFC ref, and he was so small that at the end of it all, you'll see he has to grab my elbow because he couldn't hold my hand and raise it. There's nothing impressive about this fight at all, I will tell you that, because I had tunnel vision so bad, and all I saw was his head like the whole time. And all training, all technique went right out the window. I looked so sloppy and like just so unimpressive. He kept trying to take me down and throw me down, but I was just too big. And that's it. And I knew he was out, so I wasn't even hitting him hard after. I'm all fat. And then adrenaline rush just dumping out of you. I felt sick. Honestly, I felt super sick. I was like, I don't like the way I felt. And then I go down, I give him a hug, and he's like, thanks for fixing my nose. Thanks for fixing my face. Something like that. So anyway, that was it. Like there was a whole, oh, I'll show you Gary's hand raise. He did tell me after the fight nobody's ever hit him that hard. But what's funny is at the time, I felt like I was hitting air. I didn't feel like I was hitting anything at all. I think this was what, 2011? That's how long it's been. And it's so funny because like I just all training, everything I had done for years, the Muay Thai, all of it was just like everything felt sloppy, everything felt slow motion. It was so trippy. It was such a trippy experience. And I think a lot of it is just the build up leading into it, knowing you're about to fight with a guy who's training to try and kill you. And like, plus my mouth guard, I had to have my mouth guard cut up to my eye teeth because I have a horrible gag reflex. Watch, he'll grab my elbow. Is that not the funniest shit ever? Oh gosh. So anyway, so that's that. Now you've seen it. Nothing impressive at all. So it is what it is. All right. Let's see. All right. So we'll go ahead and call it here. Man, an hour and 16 minutes. I've got a dentist appointment. I got to finish up some work. So hopefully you had some fun. We've hung out a little bit today. I've rambled a little bit about nonsensical stuff, and it is what it is. But yeah, like let me know if you got a testimonial, if I've helped you at all over the last 5 years. Definitely please leave a comment down below so I can use it as a testimonial for my new master course. I think I've got like 38 quote unquote chapters coming in this new master course. And I'm sure there's probably going to be up to like 45 to 50 by the time all is said and done. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting a lot of time into this. And I want basically everybody from newcomers to veterans to learn some really good stuff out of this. So till next time, guys, crow your coins. Check out soblocks.com. If you don't have one already, get yourself a Murder of Crows NFT for the fun of it. And I'll see you guys soon. Crow your coins.